Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now that we understand what lipids actually are and why they are so important in our life, let's move one step deeper. When we study a biomolecule, the first question that we should ask ourselves is, what is this molecule made of? For example, we know that proteins are made of amino acids and carbohydrates are made of monosaccharides. So naturally, the next question is, what are lipids made of? Let's find out. Although lipids include many of the different types of molecules like fats, oils, waxes, phospholipids, and steroids, most of them are primarily made up of three elements. They are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These are the same three elements found in carbohydrates. So, you might wonder, if carbohydrates and lipids have the same three elements, then why they are completely different? That's actually an excellent question. The reason behind this is the arrangement of atom and the proportion in which they are present. Carbohydrates contain a relatively larger amount of oxygen. Lipids, however, contain a much less oxygen and a much higher proportion of carbon and hydrogen. This is very important because carbon hydrogen bonds store large amount of chemical energy. The greater the number of carbon hydrogen bonds, the greater will be the amount of energy stored in the molecule. This is why lipids store more energy than carbohydrates. Remember what we discussed earlier. 1 gram of carbohydrates will provide approximately 4 kilocalories of energy. 1 gram of lipid will provide approximately 9 kilocalories of energy. So, the reason behind this energy value is their chemical composition. Most lipids are built from just two basic components: glycerol, fatty acids. Think of building a chair. Before building the chair, you need the wooden frame and the legs. Similarly, before the body can make a fat molecule, you need glycerol and fatty acids. These two molecules then come together to build more different type of lipids. Let's study each one separately. What is glycerol? Glycerol is a simple alcohol. Chemically, it is made up of three carbon atoms arranged in a straight chain. Each carbon atom is attached to a hydroxyl group which is represented as OH. That means a glycerol molecule contains three carbon atoms, three hydrogen, I mean, eight hydrogen atoms, and three hydroxyl groups. The presence of these hydroxyl groups are very important because they allow the glycerol molecule to react with fatty acids. You can think of glycerol as the backbone of lipids. Just as the backbone supports the human body, glycerol also supports the structure of many lipids. Now, let's move to the second building block, that is fatty acids. A fatty acid is a long chain organic molecule. It has two important parts. The first part is the carboxyl group, which is represented as COOH. This is the acidic end of the molecule. The second part is the long chain made mainly of carbon and hydrogen atoms. This is called as hydrocarbon chain. Depending on the type of fatty acids, this chain may contain anywhere between 4 and 36 carbon atoms. Although many of the naturally occurring fatty acids may contain 16, 18, or 20 carbon atoms. These hydrocarbon chain is responsible for the hydrophobic nature of lipids. Since the chain contains most of the carbon and hydrogen atoms, They do not interact well with water molecule. This is another reason for lipids to not dissolve in water. In this diagram, the carboxyl group is the reactive end, while the hydrocarbon chain stores energy and gives lipids their water repelling property. Now we have our two building blocks. But how do we form a lipid? This happens through a fascinating chemical reaction called esterification. Let's understand it step by step. Imagine that glycerol has three empty hands. Each fatty acid also has one hand available for joining. When one hydroxyl group of glycerol reacts with the carboxyl group of fatty acid, it releases a water molecule. This process of releasing water molecule is also called as condensation reaction or dehydration reaction. And finally, the bond formed between glycerol and the fatty acid is called as the ester bond. Remember, a glycerol molecule will have three hydroxyl group, which means a glycerol molecule can react with three other fatty acids. Hence, the resulting product is called as triglyceride or triacylglycerol. This is the most common storage of fat in our body. Once triglycerides are formed, they are then stored in a specialized fat cells called adipocytes. Whenever our body needs energy during fasting, prolonged exercise, or starvation, triglycerides are broken down. There then fatty acids are removed to produce ATP, which is the energy of the cell. Carbohydrates provide quick cash for the immediate expenses, whereas triglycerides are like money kept in long-term savings account, which can be used for future need. Now we have understood how lipids are built from glycerol and fatty acids. But not all fatty acids are the same. Some will contain single bonds and others will contain double bonds. This small difference changes everything from a solid fat like butter to a liquid fat like sunflower oil. We'll study this in the next part of the video. Bye bye.